There's a moment in history that doesn't get talked about enough. A woman, pure and strong, stood alone, bearing a responsibility that would reshape faith and redefine courage. This isn't just any story, it's about Mariam. And her story, her legacy, is unlike anything the world has ever seen. She didn't choose greatness, it was chosen for her. In a time and place where honor was everything, and the weight of shame could destroy lives, she carried the unimaginable a child without a man. People whispered, they judged, they stared. Yet through it all, she stood firm, silent, not from weakness, but from unimaginable strength. Miriam wasn't just a woman, she was a warrior in silence. Her battlefield was the eyes of her people, the unspoken accusations, the cruel assumptions. But what made her sacred wasn't just the miracle of her son, it was the depth of her trust in God. When the world offered doubt, she held on to faith. When the world gave her isolation, she leaned into divine connection. You see, in today's world, we celebrate strength in the loud, the bold, the assertive. But Miriam's strength, it was quiet. It didn't need a platform, it didn't need applause. Her power lived in her stillness, in her patience, in her surrender to a will greater than her own. When she gave birth alone under a palm tree in the middle of nowhere, can you imagine that moment? No hospital, no midwife, no helping hand, just pain, fear. And yet, even then, a voice from above comforted her. Do not grieve. Dates fell from the tree. A stream flowed beneath her. Nature, by God's command, moved to comfort her. That's how honored she was. We often measure a person's greatness by the legacy they leave behind. And Miriam, she became the only woman mentioned by name in the Quran. Not once, not twice, but multiple times. An entire chapter named after her. Think about that. In a book considered sacred by over 1 billion people, her name stands alone. Not as someone's wife, not as someone's mother, but as herself, Miriam. She didn't need titles. She didn't need validation. She had divine recognition. And that is something no human honor could ever match. Her story is a reminder, not just to women, but to all of us. That strength isn't always loud. That true dignity doesn't need to scream. And that when the world turns its back, sometimes it's because you've been chosen for something far greater than the world can understand. And her son, he grew up not just as a prophet, but as a testament to her unwavering faith. Every miracle he performed carried her legacy. Every word he spoke echoed the lessons she lived. Her sacrifice, her suffering, her silence, it wasn't in vain. It became the soil in which greatness was born. In a time where image matters more than substance, where followers are counted more than character, Miriam's life cuts through the noise. She reminds us that the deepest power often lies in surrender, in trusting what can't be seen, in holding on when everything else falls apart. AC. So when you feel alone, misunderstood, misjudged, remember her. Remember that silence doesn't mean weakness. That standing alone doesn't mean you're abandoned. Sometimes it means you're chosen for something greater, for something sacred. And maybe that's what makes her story so timeless. Miriam didn't just face a test, she lived it, breathed it, carried it in her womb. A test that would have shattered most. Yet she rose, not with noise, but with grace. Quiet, sacred grace. Imagine being her, walking back into your town, carrying a newborn child, eyes glaring, whispers flying, people assuming the worst. Yet she said nothing, not because she didn't have the words, but because God had told her to be still. And that stillness, that was her shield. That was her strength. She didn't argue. She didn't try to convince anyone. She let truth speak for itself. And when her son, still an infant, spoke from the cradle to defend her honor, can you grasp the weight of that moment? The divine stepped in to protect her dignity. Not a man, not a community, but God himself. That's the level of honor she carried. We live in a world where women are often told they're too much or not enough, too emotional, too bold, too silent, too loud. But Miriam, she was exactly what she needed to be, and nothing more. Not for people, for her creator. And that's why she's remembered. It's not just that she was chosen, it's that she accepted it. She embraced the struggle, the isolation, the misunderstanding, because she knew the one who chose her wouldn't abandon her. That kind of faith, it breaks the mold of what we think strength looks like. And maybe the most powerful part of her story is this: she never sought fame. She didn't ask for recognition, but heaven recognized her anyway. Her story was written in scripture. Her pain echoed through generations, and her name, Miriam, continues to be whispered with reverence by millions every single day. If that's not divine honor, what is? Her life teaches us that being chosen doesn't always feel like a blessing at first. Sometimes it feels like isolation, like being misunderstood, like walking a path completely alone. But maybe that's what divine purpose feels like before it fully unfolds. And for anyone out there who's struggling to understand their own trials, who feels forgotten, judged, or overwhelmed, remember this: God doesn't forget the ones he chooses. He honors them in ways the world can't comprehend, just like he honored Miriam. Her story is a reminder that you don't need the world's validation when you have God's recognition, that you don't need to speak to be heard by the one who matters most, and that the pain you carry today might just be the beginning of a legacy far greater than you can imagine. So hold on, be still, and trust just like she did. Because sometimes the greatest power isn't in what you say, it's in what you endure and how you keep walking faithfully, quietly, powerfully when no one else sees the path you're on. Just like Miriam, forever honored, forever remembered.